This past weekend, Creed 3 hit theaters, but was it a good ending to the trilogy of Creed movies? Hey everyone, welcome back to the Superhero Initiative. I'm David, and last night I got the chance to watch Creed 3, which ends off the trilogy of Creed movies. But before we begin the review, the way I'm going to do this is split it into categories. First, I'll talk about the story, then the characters, and then lastly, just my overall feelings and anything I want to get out. Alright, and beginning with the story, I want to talk about how I really liked how this movie was original. It wasn't like the Rocky films. We see how this is actually connecting to Adonis's past, how Damien, the villain of this movie, I guess, is really a part of Adonis's past, which is something that we didn't see like in a Rocky villain before, so I really like that. I like how we delved into Adonis's past. We see how he and Damien were like brothers back then, how he wasn't the best kid, but he also had a really bad childhood, so I liked how we see that Damien was like an older brother to him. They relied on each other essentially because they were in a terrible life at the time. They had no family, and I really enjoyed that part. Adonis has a daughter in this film, so I really like how he connects with her and how he's a father in this movie, especially with the fact that she's deaf too. It kind of adds just a little bit more to this movie that already has so much going on. Plus, we see the death of Adonis's kind of like half mom, adds a little bit more, puts something, sad in Adonis's life now. He's trying to get through this while also trying to control Damien in the boxing world. And all of this and more, they make for a very submersive film. You definitely want to keep watching, seeing what happens with Adonis's life, with every single character in this movie. And you're really invested in everyone and every part of the storyline. The biggest problem, though, is that I think it was just too short of a runtime. So the ending felt extremely rushed. I feel like we went from the news interview with Adonis where he's like, all right, Damien, come and fight me for the heavyweight belt or whatever. Then they do a little training montage, and then all of a sudden it's the fight and it's done. It felt very quickly right there. And they couldn't really not some of the story ideas that they had because they had a bunch of super awesome things. So I'm hoping if they make a Creed 4, which I think it's confirmed, that they can delve into some of this stuff more, look into more of these other characters other than just Adonis. But overall, the story was really great. I liked how it was original and different from the Rocky films. And I really like how we see more of Adonis's child life. And next up, we go to characters. And the three main characters we really focused on in this film were Damien, obviously Adonis, and then his wife, Bianca. And with Damien, Jonathan Majors, he's killing it in this role. He has been really great in Quantumania and this movie, and I'm sure many other movies before, so I'm really glad he's in the spotlight right now because he's actually a really great actor. I also love how Damien as a character, he's really pursuing his passion of boxing, but he's taking extreme measures to get it, so it makes him seem like a villain when he's really passionate about this. And I also like how he's kind of super violent. He's taking super extreme measures by getting people to help him out and kind of switch things around so he gets his way in boxing. With Adonis having a daughter, I know I mentioned this before, but it really grows for his character. And we also see how he's not a perfect person still, even as a father. He's still somewhat of a violent person, as he's saying that he wants his daughter to protect herself and fight, when Bianca's kind of telling him, okay, well, there's no needing for fighting in every situation. So I loved how we see some more of his character there. And we also see him being violent with even Damien, honestly, and those two kind of having some bad blood throughout the middle half of the movie. With Bianca, I think it was really nice to see her and Adonis's relationship. That was always a really nice part for the first two films, so we see that again in this one. I was hoping for a little bit more from her. We didn't see too much from her, and she didn't really go through anything huge, so hopefully Creed 4, we can see some more of her side of the story, how she's living in this world. But I'm enjoying that she's kind of being a producer. She does start to get a little bit more depth, which does add, but then again, that story part doesn't really go much anywhere, but it still does add for maybe future Creed projects later. So overall, I really enjoyed the characters. The actors did a great job. It was a great cast. Alright, and for my final thoughts, now this is definitely a movie that you need to see. It is honestly a really great movie, definitely to watch with the family or something like that. It gets you really hyped up in this boxing world. It gets us back in the Rocky world. And while Sylvester Stallone isn't in this film, which I know some people were a little bit worried about, I promise you, it really gives us the chance to focus on Adonis, which that's the name of the film. It's called Creed. And I think that honestly makes it a little bit better. As much as I love Rocky, I love Sylvester Stallone, and he's definitely like the anchor of this franchise. It really gives us a chance to focus on Adonis, focus on his movie, and all the other characters surrounding his life, which is really great. You guys would definitely enjoy this movie. And then for our final category grades, so these categories are going to be action, characters, and story. For action, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to give it a 7. There are some cool little boxing things here and there, but I do think that we could have gotten a little bit more from the final battle. But I will say the battle between Felix and Damien is really great. It really shows us how powerful Damien is. You don't want to be fighting that guy. So that was a great battle, but I was hoping for a little bit more in the final battle. That's why it gets a 7. Then for characters, I'm going to give it a 9. We really got to see Adonis's past, and then also seeing Damien as a character. He's a really great character, portrayed by Jonathan Majors. Great cast overall, and we get to see a lot of super awesome stuff. The only reason I'm giving it a 9 is just because I wanted to see more from other specific characters, including Bianca specifically. And then for story, I'm going to give it a 8.5 out of 10. Overall, I really liked how it was original, not like some of the Rocky stuff we've seen before, or even the past 2 Creed films. It was its own thing. I think it was just a little bit rushed in the end, and it could have had a longer runtime to fit in and check off all those story things that it introduced in the beginning of the film. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider subscribing and liking below if you would like to. Other than that, have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.